Hello, what's going on, guys? It's Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. It's another Friday here at Hustler. Behind me, people are getting set up. Got my chips in hand, ready to go. And we're gonna play another game. Hopefully another significant trend in the right direction in the Bankable Challenge. We're playing 50-100, buying for 100K. Game should be good, should be a good time. So unlike last video, it won't be as tame. I don't believe so. So wish us luck. Let's get the cards rolling because they're gonna start pretty soon, and we're gonna play some cards. Let's first go.
Let's get the party started here. We're playing 50, 100, 100 with a $100,000 buy-in. Let's get things underway here with the $400 straddle on. You know, always love that the straddles are on in this game. Hijack player limps in, and I pick up ace-10 offsuit on the button and think this is a pretty good candidate to raise. So I make it $1,400, and my opponent makes the call. Off to a flop we go of king 6-9, 2 hearts. Ishan checks over to me here, and with just ace high, certainly could bet this board sometimes, but I decided to just check. Turn is the queen of diamonds, so it's a better card for me, I think. I do improve to some sort of straight draw, so when he checks it over to me here, definitely have a decision to either bet again or check, and sitting with ace high, like, can I really get value from worse hands? Unlikely, it seems like, so I just check this one back. And the river, ace of hearts. Now flush draw gets there, and Ishan throws out $3,000, about a pot-sized bet. And sitting with now top pair, I actually don't love this spot considering how big he bets. It feels a little bit suspicious that my opponent is just going to have a strong hand here, especially on a river card that should favor me as the pre-flop raiser. Anyways, I can't really talk myself out of folding top pair and a decent kicker here, so I just force a call, although I probably should have listened to my instincts because he shows me 69 for flopped 2 pair. Gonna take this one down after I hit top pair. It's gonna be no good, and he takes down this pot here.
Hey guys, this is a last minute reminder that the merch drop that's live right now is only going to be available for the next 24 hours, and everything you see is going to be off the site after the next 24 hours. I'm repping the new and improved Luck Box roller coaster, representing the last couple months, swingy last couple months for sure. Behind me, this is definitely my favorite, the premium signature. It's light blue Luck Box. We tried to find the best hoodie available and, you know, posted something that's high quality here on that. It also comes in the black color as well. Lastly, the Luck Fuck hoodie. We all been there. Flop a set and they hit a gutter on us. Anyways, the merch drop is live for the next 24 hours. So if you want to check it out, it'd be much appreciated. I'm doing a giveaway where 4 lucky people will win $500 as well. And also the new punter hat, representing all the punters out there. So thank you for the support. Last 24 hours, I appreciate everyone that has purchased so far. And I can't wait to announce the 4 lucky winners. Good luck if you purchased, and let's get into the video.
In the following hand with Jack 10 of diamonds here with a massive straddle on by Will. I decided to raise it up to 3,200, and Will, who put in the straddle, does make the call. So we're out of position in a very big pot already. Over 6K into the middle, and it's only a single raise pot. Heads up. The flop is Jack 9-7 rainbow. Really sweet flop here, of course, with top pair. Also a straight draw. I check it to my opponent, and he fires out $3,000. Of course, where am I going to go? I think check raising here is a little bit of an overplay, so I decided to just make the call and see a turn, which is the 6 of clubs, bringing in the backdoor flush draw. I check once again, and Will fires out 6,000. And as played, how can I go anywhere? I think top pair is very good. I think top pair is likely the best hand a lot of the time. I call 6K once again, and the river comes the backdoor 7 of clubs. So the flush gets there. I guess bottom pair on the flop turns into trips. Once again, I don't think betting makes any sense, so I check it to him, and he ends up checking this one back. And I see the bad news, sadly. Once it goes check on the river, I was pretty confident I had the best hand, but I got outkicked with his queen jack. So very unlucky, and losing another pot here. This one pretty significant of over $25,000. And here, just like that, about an hour or two into the session, I'm down 25K after 2 hours of play. Haven't really won a single hand, and just losing all the hands I've been involved with. In the next spot, I'm in the $200 straddle. The ungun player opens it up to $600. Get an early position player 3-bet to $2,400, and now I look down at ace queen offsuit. Certainly can go one of two directions. I think I could easily just fold here since it's early position, 3-betting another early position player. Or I can do the thing that I do best, which is putting money into the middle with probably not the best hands in the world. And I'm not talking about this hand because I folded, right? So let's be real here. I 4-bet to 5,300. The undergun player, original opener, gets out of the way and folds. Then action onto the +1 3-better who doesn't have too much in his stack and ends up jamming the rest of it, a total of $15,000. And hey, I'm not going to be raising the 5K to fold for only $10,000 more. So, not loving this spot, but hoping I'm running up against a hand like pocket jacks or tens. So I do make the call and we flip over the same hands. So we're just going to run it. And, well, no blood here. Ace queen versus ace queen. Very unlikely one of us hits a flush anyways. So we're going to chop this pot up. Nice hand to Victor. A few minutes later, picking up king 4 suited. Very fun hand to play. I raise it up from early position to 600, and I get the cutoff to 3-bet me to 2,000. Action folds back to me here and certainly can just pitch and muck, but hey, I don't come on live streams to fold, that's for damn sure. So I decided to stick in a call, and we're going to see a flop of king 9. Well, that is what you call a bink of a flop. Here, I check it to my opponent, and he fires out $1,600, very small down bets, and certainly could start raising here at this point. Have one of the worst kings, or probably the worst king I'll ever have for trips. There's a flush draw at bay, and certainly could use some protection, but I decided to just make the call for $1,600 here. Now off to a turn, which is the 10 of clubs. I check once again, and then my opponent once again fires out, but this time for a larger amount of $5,500. Looking at my opponent's stack, look, obviously I'm never folding. I just want to find a way to extract the maximum. How can I get it all in? Do I think my opponent will bluff off the river, or do I think I can just commit his stack right now here? And considering he put about 2/3 of his stack into the middle at this point, I don't think he can fold anything else. Like hand like pocket jacks, might want to just commit and call off. So for about $11,000 extra, I jam all in. And my opponent, well, doesn't have much to call with, sadly, with just ace queen. He does end up folding. At least I got to pick up the pot. It is unfortunate from my perspective when I play a very bad hand like this and not get the maximum. It is unfortunate, but hey, I can't complain much because I did just scoop a $30,000 pot. Finally winning a pot. And about 3 hours into the stream here, I add on for about $100,000 on top after, unfortunately, our good friend Mariano gets rivered by Will, and Will wins a very big pot. So now we've got more money on the table, and it's time to use that money at bay here. With pocket tens in early position, I raise it up to $600, finally getting a real hand, and I get the small blind to 3-bet me to $3,000. Here, I'm never going to go away, but hey, this is a very big 3-bet, and we're in position, so might be playing one of the bigger pots of the night here. I make the call. Going to a flop of king, queen, 3, all hearts, sadly. My opponent throws out a bet of $2,000. With a heart in my hand, I will call here, although I don't love the situation with 2 overcards to my pair, so we're going to tread cautiously on the turn when it comes to the 5 of diamonds. Well, this is not a spot I like being, and if my opponent's going to bet again here, I'm just going to have to fold. But good news, my opponent slows down and checks. And now, actually, I think I went from wanting to fold on the turn to potentially using one of the worst hands I'm going to have here to start bluffing here. When my opponent shows some passivity, I think it opens the door for me to put some hands into bluffs, and I think third pair pocket tens, as weak as my hand is right now, could be a good candidate for it, so I attempt to bluff. I bet out $8,000, and my opponent snap folds his ace high, so I guess bluffing with the best hand, hey, it doesn't matter. I was bluffing in my head, so here we are, getting some momentum after winning some smaller pots here. It's always good for morale to win here and get a bluff through. And the momentum is coming for sure in this next hand. With an early position raised to $1,200, the button makes the call, and I peel pocket kings in the small blind. Let's freaking go here. Gotta love this situation. I've been buried all day, and this is the perfect situation to squeeze, and I 3-bet to $7,000 here. Pretty large amount, and considering I'm out of position, both opponents have lots of money to play for. We get the early position player to make the call. Button gets out of the way, and we're going to go heads up to a flop, which comes ace 7 deuce. Oh man, I hate this situation. Pocket kings once again being an ace magnet on the flop. Being out of position is really not fun with an ace high board here. So hey, I don't think I want to check though on this ace. I decided to throw a very small bet of $2,000. Super small amount, hoping to either get a fold or get some light calls. For $2,000, my opponent does make the call, and we're off to a turn, which comes another ace. So now I actually feel quite good about my specific holding. Sitting with pocket kings, it's very unlikely now, or less likely at least, my opponent can have an ace here. But still, I decided to tread cautiously by checking to him. And to my opponent here, he does not take the bait. He ends up wisely checking this one back. So seems like my opponent has a good enough hand, has some showdown at least. We're off to a river, which is the 9 of clubs. So the flush draw bricks. I think I have most likely what would be the best hand, and definitely a hand that could get paid by other hands like pocket tens, jacks, queens, hands of that nature. So here I fire out $30,000, pretty large bet, but sadly I see a snap fold. So hey, I didn't win a whole lot of money here, but once again, I'm stringing together 3 back-to-back-to-back winning pots. So feeling good, feeling confident, and need all the confidence in the world because this next hand, there's an early position player who limps. Mariano puts in a raise to $1,000, and I look down at ace-king on the button, thinking another very good candidate to raise here and 3-bet. So I make it $4,000 on top of my buddy. Action folds back to Mariano, who does end up making the call. So we're going to go heads up to a flop, and we're both stuck in this section here. So let's see what happens. The flop comes ace 5-3. Here, nice situation as I finally actually want to see the ace with ace king. Mariano checks over to me here, and I certainly have some decision points of how much I want to bet. And just like last time when I had kings, I didn't want to see the ace high board, wanted to balance things out by betting very small here in position to $1,000. Using another small size here on an ace high board, want to have some really good hands and some mediocre strength hands when I do this. And I would say ace king considering is quite a good one. My opponent makes the call and we're off to a turn, which is the 10 of diamonds. Here he checks once again, and this time I'm certainly gonna have to bet bigger, trying to commit worse hands in here. So I throw $10,000, but looks like he didn't have much with just 9 high. Going to be folding this one, but hey, maybe I got the maximum betting 1,000 here on this flop. But I'll take another $5,600 and add that to my stack. On to the next situation we go with pocket jacks. Another freaking premium. Let's go. I raise it up first to act to $1,000 here with the $400 straddle on. We get the button to make the call, and then Tito in the big blind. Haven't battled with him yet all session. We're 5 hours in now at this point. He 3-bets me to $5,000. Well, considering I haven't played many hands against him, or actually none at all, I don't have much information on him, so must expect him to have a good hand at this point, 3-betting out of the small blind. But with pocket jacks, I think I have a good enough hand to see a run out with. So I make the call for 4,000 more, and my opponent on the button folds. So we're going to go heads up in position, and the flop is 8-3 deuce rainbow. Well, I do have an overpair, but when Tito fires out for $6,500 in this spot, I can't say I'm loving life, to be honest with you. Look, he has all the better hands than me. He has queens, he has kings, he has aces, maybe even has pocket eights for a set. Look, there's a lot of hands that I'm losing to, and there's not a lot of hands I beat, to be honest, besides like just bluffs, like ace king, ace queen, pocket tens, all hands like that. Anyways, what am I doing here? Of course, I'm calling just yet, but I do want to just summarize how I'm feeling. And it's not very good with pocket jack. You never feel good with this hand. And we're seeing a turn which comes the queen of clubs. That's the problem with jacks. You just get to see some overcards and you're already not loving life. And to make matters worse, Tito fires out another bet on this turn card for 14,000. So the pot is ballooning, it is building. It could be one of the biggest pots I play tonight. And well, for one reason or another, I don't feel comfortable with it, but I do have to give Tito some credit for bluffing. He has shown down a few bluffs so far, and I can't fold just yet for $14,000, as silly as that sounds. Although every fiber in my being wants to fold, My head says, no, we're going to be stubborn. We're going to stick this one out. And I put in $14,000 into the middle. And now we're going to a river, which is the 4 of diamonds. This doesn't change a single thing, but I'm just praying for Tito to give up on his bluff. Please, he checks. Oh my God, I snap checked this one back. Couldn't check this hand any faster. And he flips over ace king offsuit. And luckily for me, he did fade his ace and king as I take down a pretty sizable pot of $52,000. And finally, 5 hours in, all it took was this one hand to claw myself out of the hole. I'm finally in the black for the night. And here now that I've made it, I've seen the sunlight, I've crawled out of the hole that I dug myself in. Will I punt off the rest of my stack? I guess we have 2 more hands to find out. About an hour after the pocket jacks, I have another situation with ace queen offsuit. With a $400 straddle on, I'm in the cutoff and I raise it up to $1,000. Here, action folds to Tom in the big blind, who's been super active so far today. And he actually ends up 3-betting to 4,500. Considering how much action he has been providing today, I can't expect him to have that strong of a hand, I don't think. I mean, how can he literally have a hand every single time? He's 3-bet me, I think, like 3 or 4 times that I haven't included on this vlog. So, hey, for ace queen offsuit for $4,500 total, I'm happy to make the call. So we're going to see a flop of jack deuce 4 rainbow. This is pretty much a nothing burger, really. And Tom decides to throw out $4,000 into the middle here. And I think ace queen high serves to be the best hand a lot of the time. He can have just worse ace highs. He can have king highs, queen highs, all of these hands that ace queen is ahead of. Obviously, he can have all the strong hands like overpairs and even a set. But what can I do? I make the call for $4,000 because I think my hand's good and I certainly have some outs, ace or queen. I make the call and the turn comes another jack. Now, this time, Tom wisely checks, and I think this makes a lot of sense as I think I'm going to have the jack X advantage here when I call on the flop. But with ace queen, no jack in my hand, I decided to check this one back as I have some showdown. We're off to a river, which comes in ace. Feeling like I finally binked something. Also, I think this is a really good card for my opponent to be bluffing on as well. So here, Tom goes into the tank, thinks about his decision for a while, and he ends up betting massive. I was planning to call any amount, but this amount seems to be a little too much, $28,000 total. And I go through the hand, and I just think, how can I ever fold? How can I talk myself into a fold here? He could certainly be doing this with worse aces for value. He could certainly be bluffing with all the hands like king, queen, king 10, queen 10. You know, the list goes on with all of the combinations of bluffs he can have. So, hey, what can I do? I think I have pretty much the best ace possible. Can't fold here. I make the call and I see, obviously, the very awful news. I'm up against ace, king. He outkicks me and I lose a pretty big pot, the biggest pot I've played tonight, of course. And just like that, losing the biggest pot of the night, I am basically break even at this point, and the stream is about to end. I'm preparing to lock up a very small loss, which is really frustrating considering the roller coaster day I've had. But one last hand, about 5 minutes until the stream ends, this hand pops up where I'm on the button. The straddles are on, the straddles are crazy. And if I get king, queen offsuit, certainly not going to be folding this hand. I raise it up to $2,000. I get the big blind to make the call for $2,000 and action onto Tom once again, who put in the straddle. He 3-bets to $9,000. Once again, I am feeling a little bit suspicious about the developments of this hand. Like I said, Tom has been super action. He has been 3-betting a lot of the time. I have to give him some respect for 3-betting some bad hands here, especially when there's a caller in the big blind out of position. So I am going to make the call and see a flop here in position, and the big blind comes along as well. So it seems like at least the big blind has a real hand of some sorts. But we're going to a flop with over $27,000 into the middle. The flop is king, queen, 4, top 2 pair. Let's go. Definitely confident in thinking I have the best hand. The big blind checks, and the ungun player throws out a continuation bet of $11,000. Here, well, I certainly don't think I'm going to be raising. I think it seems like an overplay, seems like it's super, super strong, and the bad property is that my top 2 pair blocks a lot of the value that my opponent here can have. So I make the call for $11,000 and onto the big blind player, who takes a pretty long time before ultimately calling as well. Oh my goodness, we have quite the pot building, about $60,000 into the middle. We're going 3 ways to the turn, which comes the 4 of hearts. Oh man, this is not a good card, I don't think, you know. Now my hand is very vulnerable against a hand like aces that I lose to. So, adding another combination of hands that I could certainly be ahead of. Now I'm behind, not loving the spots as the big blind checks and the ungun player fires out $40,000. Pretty much sizing up to be all in on the river. I think that's his point. And for $40,000, I have a pretty easy decision, I think. Overall, I'm just going to be calling here. Don't think any other decision makes sense. Folding is obviously crazy. All in also seems pretty crazy. So I make the call for $40,000, and the big blind player now reluctantly lets his cards go. So we've got, for sure, the biggest pot of the night brewing now, and it's the final hand of the night for sure. So hoping to hold, hoping to think that my hand is good. The river is the 3 of diamonds, so complete brick. And now I'm just waiting to see what Tom wants to do. At the end of the day, Tom actually decides to slow down and check, which I think is quite interesting because I think a lot of the hands that he is going to be bluffing with will be all in. A lot of the hands he has value with, like aces, kings, queens, they will also be all in. So now I have a decision point. I was just totally prepared to just call off whatever Tom wanted to bet. And now I don't know if my hand wants to go all in now. I obviously am confident that I think I have the best hand here at this point with top 2 pair. I don't think ace is going to be playing this way. I don't think hands that beat me will be playing this way. So how can I get a hand like king jack to call? Just a top pair holding. And I think a smaller bet will accomplish this decision point. But the issue is Tom is a very, very good professional player, and he's going to sniff out my small bet, and he might put me in a tough spot. So I don't want to get exploited here. With Tom having about $90,000 behind, I don't know if my hand is worth a bet of $90,000 for value. Certainly probably worth a bet of like $50,000, $20,000, anything less than 90 as an all-in. But I don't want to be exploited. Tom is a very good opponent, so I decided to just go all in and put him all in for $90,000 total. You can see Tom having just a queen in his hand now at this point. Doesn't seem like that's a good candidate to call, and he wisely does end up folding, which maybe costed me some money. But the main decision point came from respecting my opponent in having bluffs or just having a good balanced checking range on the river. Anyways, hey, all of that to say, I ended up taking down a $230,000 pot, adding $80,000 into my stack. And just like this, an up and down session came down to the final last significant hand that I played. Shortly after, the stream is going to rack up and I profit about $80,000 into the session, all because of that last hand. Hello. Cashed out, home now. Finally get to decompress a little bit after another, luckily, successful Friday session. I somehow survived. I was down for probably like 80% of the stream and found a way to book a win, surprisingly, which is pretty crazy. So we're going to go over the numbers, but I do want to go over something really cool that happened on stream today. So the last session you saw, there was a little bit of a discrepancy of the cash out total, if you saw the last video, from the stream numbers to my actual result. That is because I dropped my freaking chips when I was racking things up, and one of my 5K red chips fell into the drop, or like the rake part of the little slot that where the casino takes the rake. It dropped into there. Took 2 days. Big thank you to Louie. Big thank you to Hustler for finding it through the security cameras, and I got the 5K chip back. So I'm gonna add an extra 5K total to this video's number because I thought I lost 5K, or technically I did lose 5K because I'm an idiot and I lost it. But now I refound it. Big thank you to them. I'm going to add that to the total. So today, pretty tame overall, I think, outside of that last big like king-queen pot on my side of things. For the most part, didn't play any massive pots, but was losing for the majority of the session and found a way to be out. So in the game for $200,000, out of the game for $279,100, which is a profit of $79,100 today on this stream, plus the lucky 5K that I found from last session. We're going to tack it onto this number. So pretty much a profit of $84,100, which feels quite good. Yeah, it's crazy. I was down like at least 30, 25K the entire session, and that big king-queen hand happened, which I feel iffy about. But overall, smooth day, good day. Nice to survive another Friday because the swings can be quite large compared to other games that I usually play in cash games. So it feels good to be on the good side of variance today. And things are trending up in the right direction in this bankroll challenge. So updated stats are on the screen. Things are looking good.
They're progressing, and I'm done talking because it's been almost 3 minutes of me talking now, and I don't think you guys care. So I'll see you guys in the next video. More cash games to come, more fun stuff happening, and let's see you next time. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Road to 1 million. We're making progress, hoping to end this little journey and wrap it up sometime this year. That's it. See ya.